reason. And the last time I saw her space, they were talking about Ukraine and why it's important that we maintain our presence there. And so I haven't really looked that deeply beyond that case. That was a contracted case. So, but I do want to drill back into it and see what they're all up to now to see if it follows a certain pattern. But what I did notice is they never did take down any of their collection platforms on Open Collective, and on the it's called Collectives on Action Network. It's called Actions.
I'm surprised the press isn't digging into this. I mean, isn't this sort of a prime story, so to speak, of intrigue? And wouldn't it be interesting for any sort of even marginally investigative reporter to dig into this a little bit and tell a story? I mean, what is going on here? That I feel like this conversation is breaking news, and yet you've broken the story elsewhere, and still no one seems terribly. There's no momentum around it. That's for sure.
I mean, how much time do you have? I mean, we've seen the press's coverage on stuff that would have been page one above the seam 6 years ago, or
Right.
if it was Donald Trump. I think because all of these organizations all kind of connect to each other. I mean, there's a list of media contacts in both of these platforms that are all legacy media. So I think for whatever reason they're not covering it, but whatever's going on in journalism right now, that's a whole nother story that goes deep.
I want to make sure I hear you. Are you saying that they are part of the organizations and that's why they're not covering it?
No, they're not part of the organizations, but their politics, they are biased. Most of the all of the legacy media seems to be biased, and whoever is sponsoring them, whoever is buying the ads on, say, the larger legacy media sites, I can imagine that they are saying, you're going to cover this certain way. Such as, and just so you know, I mean, on Action Network, BLM is one of their featured clients.
Well, I was going to say, it seems like this sort of thing that helped. That if BLM wasn't part of this, they did something similar, right? When they developed.
They actually used Action Network to get that organized, and
right.
And my question when BLM happened was how'd they get so organized? I mean, it's a command and control dream. If I was back when I was in the military, if we could get things organized that quickly, that would have been great.
So why doesn't the right or the center, the independents, do something similar?
That is a great question. That's what I've been, or even use the existing one. I mean, I hate to, feed any money into something like that, but I always say, use the enemy's sword if they drop it. And it is available to anyone. And I don't think they care really. You could just check it. Yeah, I'm progressive. I mean, what's that mean? It's up to you. But I was saying this myself, like, well, the right or conservatives really need something like this. Otherwise, they're never going to catch up, at a minimum, just to counter protest.
Has anybody I mean, your wife has a bit of a reach, Naomi. Is she taking it to anybody, showing it to anybody, getting any traction, interest from anybody?
I can't really speak to that because she's actually so involved with, as you saw in your opener, that she's so involved with the Pfizer documents. There's just, she actually has a similar capability on dailyclout.io called Communities, but this is that's a donor-based operation versus this very, very corporate-based operation. I know Jim Hoft at the Gateway Pundit has put it out, and the Post Millennial also covered it as well. But I don't think anyone's talked about, except for myself on Jim Hoft's interview, using it. Using it the same way they are, using it the same way to raise money, to organize people, to make sure people vote.
Right. It's all kind of weird and confusing to me that they have to be aware of it. I mean, I don't know, who knows? All right. The origin story of this thing again, it feels like something that Soros would be involved with. Like, it'd be odd if he missed this opportunity. Let's put it that way. Are his hands on this?
Yeah, there is a connection to the Tides Foundation, which does have ties to, I believe, either Arabella or Open Society, which are both Soros-backed organizations. And then even ARC is, involved there too. I mean, Soros is kind of like Bill Gates. I mean, we could play the drinking game of 6 degrees to Soros, and we'll find him there. But yeah, he's definitely linked to this, and it's, I think, on a kind of a darker tone here. What scares me about this is chaos in our cities is a very effective tool in war. So if you are going to do something to an enemy, or that's what you're going to do, a fifth column of chaos, if you will, you can sit there in your cubicle in whatever enemy cubicle farm there is attack in the US, and just click a few buttons, run your credit card, and you can start protests all over the world if you want to, simultaneously.
Again, I don't understand why other people aren't doing something in the other direction. I don't know. Maybe there's opportunity there.
Media?
What's that, Susan?
Are you saying
What do you mean? Can you hear Susan when she talks?
you're saying the media? Why the
No, I'm asking why people with alternative points of view aren't fighting back in a similar way, and why things that Naomi and I have been talking about for a long time in terms of certain around vaccines and around overreach of government and public health, why people have an organized technique to organize. Why
They
RFK
do.
Jr. doesn't use it. They do use it.
You know, there is a mentality that I came across years ago. I was at the Capitol Hill Club, the conservative one. So there's the left and the right Capitol Hill clubs. I happened to be at the Capitol
Mm.
Hill Club with a member of Parliament, European Parliament named Daniel Hannan, and we were talking about this very thing because Obama had raised a ton of money through nickel and dime donations, and that's when that was something new. And I brought that up. I said, "Well,
Mm.
we should do that." And there was this donor there who was very nice, but she was, the white pearls like out of a movie, and she said, "I would never do something they're doing." And
Mm.
there's that kind of mentality, but there's also awareness of it too.
Mm.
If it's not getting covered, people don't know about it. And you're right. I mean, something like this, for all those entrepreneurs out there, can make someone on the conservative side a lot of money and help, balance the scales a little bit.
It's very odd. Well, the other thing I wanted to talk to you a little bit about and get an update on what's going on with China. I mean, Susan loses sleep for about 5 days after we talk to you usually.